upon the day, the available workspace we have gets smaller, then bigger, and on it goes. We're toughing through the shrinking workspace, but the funny thing is that while our space is shrinking due to the remodeling, we are open and we have new jewelry arriving pretty much daily. Our custom work and repairs, business as usual. Keeping up with it all is definitely a challenge, but it's taking shape behind the temporary wall, and we are ecstatic for you to see the new layout. It may not seem like it, but our front door is open and we will remain open through our remodel. Just come in as our remodel sale is still going on, and you never know what's being marked down until you see it for yourself. When this is all said and done, we'll be better able to help you love the ones you love on Main Street, M32 in downtown Gaylord at Hogan's Jewelers.
It's time for the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio with your host, Rich Calkins.
And Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Kalkaska. Start your stress-free car shopping experience when you search Sarah Kalkaska and Sarah Gaylord. Rich Calkins and the Roadrunner in studio with you this morning. Appreciate the Roadrunner filling in for JC as he's heading down to the Michigan game and see what they can do against Oregon. But first and foremost, we have Coach James Wagner of Traverse City West on line one here. And Coach, the score ended up being 28-0, Coach. But I tell you what, not indicative whatsoever of the effort put forth by the Titans.
Yeah, it was a tough battle by my kids. I mean, just 100% proud of them and the way that they fought. We had our chances, and we knew we were going to have to play mistake-free and be able to capitalize on different opportunities. And we just fell short. We fell short, and we took some shots and took some chances on different things that we schemed up, and it didn't pan out for us. And I tip my cap to Mount Shores and their staff, and they're a solid team, and and I mean, we just fell short. It wasn't our night, and but it doesn't take away from the effort that they put forth and the way that they fought. I mean, they fought all the way through for 4 quarters, and again, just couldn't be more proud of the way that they just continued to step up and rise to challenges. I mean, I've said it all year, as this team was tough and they were gritty, and I just loved going to battle with them every single week. Yeah, Coach. Like you said, there are some new wrinkles displayed out there on the field last night, and some of those 4 wide receiver sets to one side and different looks that probably hadn't seen on film all year long, and you guys have been working on some of the stuff in practice, and some of that stuff really it worked. You know what I mean? A lot of those plays were able to pick up chunk yardage, and again, like you said, we really had our opportunities, Coach. When you're in a really tough battle with a good team like Mona Shores, you get the ball, down near the 30-yard line of there, you really hope that you're going to cash in and get some points out of that drive, because again, it's so important because you don't know when the next time you're going to get down that far. Yeah, you got to be able to capitalize when you have those opportunities. But yeah, I mean, there's different things that obviously they're solid in every spot, and we needed to do what we could to get guys out of the box, and we had some different formations and fun things that we drew up, and some of it worked, and some of it didn't, and that's football. Again, you have fun doing that kind of stuff with the kids have fun doing that kind of stuff in terms of different formations and different trick plays and that kind of thing. It's just one of those nights where we just weren't able to capitalize when we needed to, and we were able to drive the ball. I mean, I think we had over 250 yards on a really good defense, and we just weren't able to punch it in when we got down there. And again, they were stout defense. I mean, they had some dudes. They had some guys that were in the middle that were really tough and tough to move. Tough mentality. They, again, I give them credit, and play that game again. I mean, it could totally turn out totally different. But last night just wasn't our night. So it doesn't take away from the season these kids had. It doesn't take away from anything that these guys have accomplished this year. Really proud of just the fight, and they never backed down, not once, and they fought all the way through 4 quarters, and just came up short.
Yeah, Coach, I really like strategically. Mona Shores it scores just 6-0 late in the first half, and they get a pretty incredible touchdown in the corner of the end zone. The receiver over there made a spectacular catch, and so then so you were determined coming out in the second half. So Mona Shores was going to receive the kickoff of the second half. You were determined not to let them do that thing that coaches love to do, score at the end of the first half and then get the ball opening second half and drive down the field. You guys did a squib kick, and it was perfectly executed as you recovered the ball in their field position.
Yeah, and that was that play, and right before the half, what a play. The kid, the ball that the quarterback threw was perfect. It was right on the money, and the kid just made a great catch in the back corner in the end zone, and that was a blow, and we knew, or at least I knew, when we went in the locker room, I said, we're going for the onside. I just was determined to get the ball back because I knew we were going to have to steal a possession or two, give ourselves a chance, and we went in there and we said we're going to do it, and we came back out, and the way they lined up, we either were going to call squib in the middle or squib to the left, and we called it to the left, and it was a beautiful execution, and it went right off the hands, and I think it went off 2 of them. One tipped it to the other and hit him one in the hand, and then it bounced off his chest, and then perfectly landed in a spot where we could land on it, and I know that middle part of the last 2 minutes and the first 2 minutes of the halves there is such an important part of the game, and we didn't finish the first half the way that we wanted to, and we needed to start the third with a bang to give ourselves a shot, and we got the kick, and again, we just weren't able to do what we wanted to do with the ball when we got it, and just stalled out. But it gave us a spark, and it gave us hope in the second half that we can go do this. And again, my kids always believed. Even in the fourth quarter, they scored on a pick six, but we had moved the ball all game, and and then it's just like we weren't able to capitalize when we needed to, and that happens. That's football. That's life, and it's tough to win every game. It's tough to win when you go into the playoffs. You're playing against high quality opponents, and our kids gave them a fight, and I think it surprised them a little bit from what we were able to do, I'm just super proud of those guys.
Yeah, and Coach, you took a long time on the field with the whole team, and then obviously, saying goodbye basically to those seniors that are going to put that Titan uniform on for the last time. That's always difficult, and the parents were waiting. A lot of parents were there waiting on the track, for everything for your talk to be done. But again, that's the toughest part at the end of the night.
Yeah, it's always hard. I never can get through that last talk without shedding tears. It's those kids, those seniors. What a great group. They have this whole entire year just been so much fun to watch and so much fun to coach. Each one of those kids, it's been a special relationship with those guys, and we've spent a lot of time together. We spent a lot of time together, and they've put in the time necessary in order to win a lot of ball games and fighting some really close ball games, and they are a huge part of us righting the ship and getting back to the playoffs, I'm going to miss them. I wish I had more time with them. They're incredible kids, and it's like those relationships that you create with those guys. It's just that's why you coach. I mean, that's why you do. That's why any coach does what they do. It's just the relationships that you have with these young men, and you watch them grow and develop as football players, but then you watch them grow and develop as men, and they all of a sudden become these friends to you, almost, in the sense of like you just spend so much time with them, and you have so many memories together, and you have so many laughs, and and you go to war, you win, you lose, you cry, you celebrate, and it just bonds you, and it creates this relationship that will last for a lifetime. I know I can call any one of these kids and they'll pick up, and vice versa. We're always going to be there for each other, and I just love them to death, and I wish I could have one more game with them, but that's just the way it goes. And I just said all good things come to an end, and life is all about seasons, and enjoying the process, and enjoying the opportunities that you get, and being able to take everything that they learn from this game and applying it to their life as they go. They're going to be better people because of it, and I just can't wait to see who they become as people and what they choose to do. I know all these guys are going to have success as they go, and it'll be a tough group to replace. Can never replace kids. It's just finding new kids to come in, and you start developing and doing all those things in the off season. But those kids I'll miss a lot for sure.
Yeah, and Coach, the film person up high atop the press box at Mona Shores there, he was really impressed with the total team's effort out there and how hard we played. And he really had some really kind words, too, about Drew Esper and the game that he had.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. I mean, I don't know what else to say about him. He is just truly so much fun to watch. He's so much fun to coach, and I can't believe I get one more year with that kid. I mean,
I know.
He's just truly, the things that he does on the field, it's so impressive. I mean, he had, on defense, I don't know how many tackles he had, but he had a lot.
Yeah.
And offensively, he's out there throwing, he's running, he's catching, he's, on a punt, fake punt, like, that one, it was like, so we give Drew the opportunity, if he wants to be able to fake a punt, he can, and
right.
We kind of roll him out and
do that rugby style. Yep.
Yeah, we just trust him, and he started to go, and we were like, kick it,
right?
And then he started to run, and then it was like, oh, okay, go, like, all right, good job, like we were
right.
One of those plays where it's like, no, okay, good, nice job, it's like. He can make things happen. He's just such a special talent, but he's the most humble young man there is. I mean, the only thing that young man wants to do is win with his teammates, and it's never about him. He wanted to win a district title, and, it doesn't matter if he had one tackle or if he had all of them. Like, it's not about that for him, and he is just, he's absolutely 100% a team player, and I couldn't speak enough about him, and happy I get to have him one more year.
Yeah, true that, Coach. Yeah, when he reverse field on that fake punt, and he came back and then ended up right in front of our broadcast location. I mean, it looked like he had zero chance to get the first down, but somehow, some way, he got the ball past the chains, and again picked up that huge first down, and that was just 100%. I mean, a lot of talent there, but it was about 100% guts there, picking up that huge first down.
Yeah, the will to win, and I even we got back probably around 2:30 or 3 last night, or somewhere in there.
Right.
And I'm watching it on film, and even when I was watching it on film, I'm like, there's no way he's getting this, and
right.
All of a sudden he goes and gets it, and it's just like, man, what a gutsy player, and anytime the ball's in his hand, you never know. You just never know what's going to happen, and that's why he's fun to watch. He's just super talented, and he's got a good supporting cast that helps him in a lot of different things, and but he deserves everything that he gets. He puts in all the work, he does all the right things, shows up on time to everything. He's a coach's dream in a lot of ways, just from a mindset standpoint, from humility standpoint, to playmaking ability, to processing the game and being able to play at a high level. I mean, he does all the right things, and couldn't be more proud of him.
Yeah, it just puts those special teams on the back of their heels, all the time. They never know, like, if he's going to punt, if he's going to run it, if he's going to throw it. Like you said, he could do it all. So it's just sometimes that could be your most exciting play of what takes place on special teams. Is we've seen him return kicks for touchdowns and totally switch momentum in games. And yeah, like you said, Coach, when he was all conference as a sophomore last year in the Saginaw Valley Conference, that said a ton about what the high expectations and high goals this kid had for himself.
Yeah, and he's going to have a lot of accolades this year, and again, he deserves it. And I think he's got bigger goals for himself as he continues to go and move forward. But I know his goals are mainly focused around the team, and that's what makes him special. And he wants to win. He wants to bring good things to West. He wants to be a part of a team that wins a district championship, and we put ourselves in a position to compete, and fell short. And he and I were the last two to walk out of the locker room last night together, and we just kind of said, well, let's start putting in the work to be here next year.
Right.
And he just was totally on board with that. So that goes to tell you about who he is and what his character is. He doesn't get too high or too low. He just puts in the work, and he's fully on board to win at all costs with his team. So
sure. And Coach, again, you were saying goodbye to your team. So JJ and I, we did name the Fox Motors Motivated Player of the Game. We went with Colton Rotola, the senior guard there on the right side of that offensive line. We thought he played a real solid game along the front there, and did a good job and opened up a lot of holes throughout the night. So he was our, again, Fox Motors Motivated Player of the Game, and we wanted you to still be able to name the Jimmy John's Player of the Game. Yeah,
well, first on Colton, great choice, and a senior that's been a guy that has been a big part of that line, and somebody that has just been consistently getting better ever since we started coaching, or at least I started coaching here at West. He's just come a long way, and he's one of those kids that kind of you're hoping that you're going to get great play out of him, and then all of a sudden he started to consistently prove himself, and it became a standard and expectation that you're getting great play out of him. And he just continually grew as a player. He's also one of those kids that just puts his head down and works and does the things right and necessary, never complains. And great choice with Colton. When it comes to Jimmy John's, let's see. He had a couple different kids that really played well last night. I think if I had to give it to anyone, I would say, I've picked Drew so many times. It's hard to go away from him, but I'd probably like to spread it around. I thought Carson Toothman played really well last night. Just kind of going through my head here. Different guys that were, there. I thought Aiden Griffiths played well. He had a couple nice catches. Cam Mink had a couple nice catches out of the backfield. Ran the ball tough, and I think if I had to give it to any of those three, those would be my candidates. I'd say Carson Toothman, just a gritty kid, and he played super tough all the way through. this year and in last night's game, and a kid that plays bigger than he is consistently. I mean, he's not, as an inside linebacker, he's maybe 165, 170 pounds, and he's tough to block. I mean, he's going up against dudes that are twice the size, and he never stepped away from it, and he just is a kid that is a warrior and played like it last night, and very proud of him, and going to miss him. But Jimmy Johns goes to Constitution. Yeah, no, that's a great choice, Coach. And again, I know it ended maybe a little earlier than you wanted to, Coach, but again, you're doing a great job, getting this team to the playoffs, and I had a lot of fun broadcasting all the games again this year. Also, Coach, I'm getting ready. As soon as our show's over, I'm heading over to Lambeau Field to watch the Lions tomorrow. And lucky guy. Yeah, I am pretty fortunate for sure. So, any words of encouragement you want to give me, Dan Campbell? Anything? Yeah, just tell him to be gritty and don't stop focusing on the process. And, continue on with those trick plays that he does. A lot of fun to watch the Lions right now. And it is. The season, obviously, it's one of the toughest things to do when you win a state championship. And I think we're heading in the right direction. I think our guys are competing, starting to really understand what it takes to compete at a high level. And the new standard's been set. Last year, we fell just short, but the seniors last year were able to beat the team across town there, and set the tone of what the expectation needed to be going into the next season. We built upon that and got ourselves to the playoffs this year, and now that's the new standard. And and that's just the expectation. And having the freshmen and sophomores that we brought up, and obviously the juniors, seeing that and being a part of that. I mean, that's what you put in all the time in the off season for, and that starts on Monday. And I'm super sad to say again bye to those seniors, and I'll miss them entirely. But new season starts on Monday, and we're looking forward to getting back to work. Yep, I am too. Looking forward to next year already for football season, Coach. And thanks for taking time every single week, not only with post-game interviews, but also pre-game interviews, all of that. And appreciate all the time, and see you at some basketball games. Yeah, that's right. Thank you guys. I mean, you guys are awesome. You guys do so much stuff for these kids, and I can't thank you enough. I mean, you do a great job of just seeing the big picture of what this sport is, and and all the sponsors. I just thank you so much for supporting West, and we're always trying to do our best to be able to put a good product out on the field and give these kids best opportunities to win, but also give them opportunities to learn about life. And we're going to continue to get better and continue to try and put our best foot forward. But again, thank you guys for being able to be there and broadcast and give a lot of people just the insight to West football, and a lot of people the voice behind what's happening in the games and the visuals there too. So thank you guys. You bet. James Wagner from Traverse City West. Well, we'll see you in a few weeks, Coach. Yeah, sounds good. As always, go Titans. All right, James Wagner from Traverse City West there, Roadrunner. And we're going to head to break here, and then we're going to be getting a hold of Josh Sellers from Traverse City St. Francis, talk about their big win over Charlevoix. All righty. Right. Hey, I get to talk for the first 25 minutes of the show. Yeah, exactly. That's great. I'm glad to be sitting in with you, and here we go. Yeah, exactly. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford in Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Kalkaska.
Hi folks, Jim Jeffries for Michigan Trailers in Traverse City. It's summer sell-down savings time right now with up to $5,000 off the tremendous selection of trailers in stock and ready to roll. All prices are clearly marked on over 150 units. The best selection of utility trailers plus the best service, parts, and accessories all at Michigan Trailers. See us today on US 31 South across from Menards, Traverse City, or visit us online at michigantrailer.com.
Friday, December 6th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Rock legends Cheap Trick with Blue Oyster Cult. Tickets start at $62 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office and online at etix.com. December 6th, Cheap Trick with Blue Oyster Cult. More at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
Mac and cheese is all grown up at Trout Town Tavern and Eatery in Kalkaska with the Pub House Mac and Cheese. Savor an oozy 4-cheese blend smothered over penne pasta and topped with a crispy Parmesan crumb. Get decadent by adding smoked pork and bacon crumble, or maybe shrimp or barbecue beef brisket. This is mac and cheese at a new level. Pair it with your favorite ice-cold brew or cocktail. Get more at TroutTownTavern.com. Trout Town, for up north flavor.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
Tune into Up North Sports Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Fick & Sons High School Sportscape Show. A quick 15-minute look at high school sports throughout northern Michigan. Grayling, Petoskey, Traverse City, Fick & Sons High School Sportscape Show. Up North Sports Radio. Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford in Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram out of Kalkaska. Joining us now, head coach of the victorious Traverse City St. Francis Gladiators, Josh Sellers. And Josh, I tell you, a big 41-16 win over Charlevoix, and sounds like the Russian attack was really working for you last night.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on this morning. I appreciate it. Our offensive coordinator, Josh Ludka, went in with a game plan to establish the ground game, and we took the opening kickoff from Charlevoix and marched it down the field and put it in the end zone on the opening drive to kind of establish what we wanted to do, and it was a good start for us for sure.
Yeah, Coach, as you know, you've had some good battles with Don Jess, the head coach from Charlevoix. Good coach, and he's similar to like what you're going through right now, Coach. Your son's playing up on the varsity there. He's had a couple of kids up on varsity, and so it's always interesting walking that line there of the coach, parent, all that kind of stuff going into an emotional game.
Yeah, you know, as good of a coach as Don is, he's a better man. He's just a great guy. I feel so sorry for Brady, his oldest, his senior son, who is out with an injury, and maybe the worst part of that is that he can't defend his wrestling state title this winter.
Right.
But he'll be going on to bigger and better things at Michigan State next year, and wish him nothing but the best. So, yeah, we always know that we're going to get a great game out of Charlevoix because Don is a guy who dots his I's and crosses his T's, and we told our kids all week last week, don't expect the same outcome as it was in week one. They're a much better team. They persevered. The fact that they won their conference, they made the playoffs, put up a 6-3 record in the regular season despite losing their starting quarterback is really a testament to what Coach Jess does up there.
Yeah, Coach, who were some of the kids that really stood out for you last night?
Cam, my son Cam, had a nice game. He had a couple touchdowns, including the first one, maybe the first two. Harrison Shepard, who's a 3-year varsity player for us, we moved him to fullback last night, and he's our safety. He did a nice game for us. Warren Asher is a lineman for us, two-way lineman for us, and we kind of ran over him a bunch on the right side last night. We have a senior center, Bo Bellinger, who did a fantastic job for us. But it was definitely an all-around team win. I think other than Cam with a couple touchdowns, everyone else only had one touchdown and contributed in their own way.
Yeah, and Coach, having those home games, you got some really cool photos in this morning's Record Eagle. So, yeah, that's always awesome, too, to give so the kids can, get that visual of what took place during the game.
I haven't seen the paper this morning yet. It's good to know, but I know Jan Michael Stump is just first-class guy, Record Eagle photographer. It's always good to see him at our games, and having a home game in the playoffs was a plus. We weren't quite sure how that was going to fall after losing to Boyne City last week, but we were fortunate to have one more home game for our seniors, and I told them to kind of savor things after the game and kind of linger around, because you're not going to play another game here wearing the Gladiator helmet, and our kids made some good memories last night.
Yeah, and Coach, my computer's acting up here, so I can't tell who you're going to play next, the winner of who?
So 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Central today. Houghton Lake, the Bobcats are at Menominee.
Okay.
And so we get the winner of that game. Menominee is the number 1 seed in our district, so they're favored to win. And if that happens, we are looking at a 6-hour one-way road trip.
Yep.
To play a team that lost to Lumen Christi in the finals last year, and have a lot of pieces back. So we're going to have our work cut out for us for sure.
Yeah, the Maroon. I've made many a road trip up there to Menominee to take on the Maroons, Coach. That, as you know, that old style stadium, they're right in town, and the Maroons, they always play hard-nosed, tough football. And like you said, they've got a good thing rolling there. And heck, just a few short years ago, they used to be like a Division 5 school. Mm-hmm. So, and then now they're at a Division 7, so they've lost some enrollment in their high school, but their football program is still top notch.
Absolutely, and their head coach is Chad Brandt, who spent 15 years or more at Stevenson, nearby Menominee there, and he's just continued the success that the Hofers put together up there. And so we're going to get some film later today, and we'll take a peek at what's going on. If I'm being honest with you guys, and I always am, I'm the biggest Houghton Lake fan today. I hope the Bobcats pull off the upset and we can host another game.
Right, sure. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, Coach. It's a whole lot easier getting in your vehicle to that 5-minute ride to Thurlby instead of a 6-hour bus ride, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, if I may, we were looking last season for weeks. We were going to go to Menominee last year, week 1 of the playoffs. And so I kind of got the creative juices flowing. I thought, you know what? It's a 6-hour trip. That darn Lake Michigan is right in the way.
Right.
And so I said, I wonder. So I got on the Google machine and I said, what's the flight time between Traverse City and Menominee?
I love
it.
And
it's like a 20-minute flight across the lake. So I started again making phone calls and emails to different charter companies.
Right.
The best deal I could get was $40,000 to fly us across and back.
Oh, yeah, that's probably just outside the budget a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
Just a smidge. Yeah.
Oh man, no, exactly like you said, Coach. I mean, you wish you could the most direct route. Take a bridge right across there.
Right.
I mean, they're almost directly across the water there. I mean, it's like. It's just wild.
They are. They're just north of us in terms of latitude. So,
right.
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's always. I mean, of course I love the UP and all of that. Always travel, but again, it's different. Those bus rides, it's a whole lot different for sure. But I know for sure that you'll have your team ready. And they'll be ready to if in fact they win today against the Bobcats of Houghton Lake.
Yeah, you can't complain. I mean, you're moving on in the playoffs, so
right.
There's no room to be complaining about that. We're happy to be playing another week, and we'll, like you say, we'll get our kids ready to go.
Yeah, yep, no question about it. So, all right. Well, Josh, we always appreciate you taking out time and joining us on Saturday morning. Best of luck wherever you end up, if you're at home hosting the Bobcats or go on the road to take on the Maroons of Menominee.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it as always, and take care.
All right, yeah, you too. Josh Sellers, 100% Roadrunner class act there, longtime coach at St. Francis, does a tremendous job.
Definitely. Hey, what was the temperature at game time last night? I was going to ask you while you were playing.
What was it? Roughly, it started off fairly balmy at 40, and so I think by the time we left this, it was down in the low 30s at the time when we walked out of there about 10 o'clock at night.
Wow, yeah.
So,
20, what was it, 18 and 20 in good old levels this morning.
Is that right?
Yeah, right there on the North Branch of the Azabo. A cold trip on the way in for the Bird, but glad to be here with you on the Scoreboard show.
Excellent. Always good to have you in here, buddy. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Coach Spanger from Clare. Had a big battle with Ogemaw last night, came up on the short end, but another huge battle there. Two really good teams, and unfortunately one is going home. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
There are so many wonderful things about fall in northern Michigan. Football, autumn colors, and the return of the fall favorites at Benetham's, like chicken morel pasta, veal tosca, and Salzburg schnitzel. Everything on the Benetham's menu is made with the freshest ingredients, and the daily appetizer and dinner specials are always delightful, especially paired with a great wine. Visit Benethams.com and make your reservation. Benetham's, for the true love of food.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
Sports fans, check out UpNorthSportsRadio.com for all your Detroit sports action. Get full schedules for the Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions, and U of M football. Catch Friday Face-Off live and hit the links with JC on episodes of Finding Fairways. Our high school sports guru, Rich Calkins, hosts the High School Scoreboard Show. And don't miss Traverse City West Titan football and boys basketball action. Catch games live or see past episodes on the podcast page. Real sports fans, go to UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and the Roadrunner in the studio with you this morning, and joining us now is the head coach of the Clare Pioneers, Steve Spranger. And Steve, I tell you, the excitement level never ceases when you battle Ogemaw, and unfortunately you came up on the short end of a 21-13 score last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's two really good teams that were battling it out all night long, and we had our opportunities, and Ogemaw did a great job of their defense stiffening it up when it needed to. So, it's not the way that we wanted it to end, but two great teams, and we can't fault the fight of our guys.
Yeah, Coach, and that's the hard part when you have so many good teams in a relatively small area like that of similar size, and then you end up facing each other early on in the playoffs, and unfortunately a good team is going home after one game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at our district and even our region. I mean, I would be confident in saying that 5 of the top 10 teams are within our region with Frankenmuth, and then the teams that are in our district, and you can even throw in Belding on that other side. So
yeah,
we knew it was going to be in a really good district and region, and whoever comes out will certainly be battle tested, and you can definitely count on some really good games from here on out.
Yeah, no question, Coach. Who were some of the kids that played well for you last night?
Ryan Lauch continued on and really capped off his stellar career for us. He's a 3-year starter. He had 12 receptions for over 100 yards, probably 8 or 9 tackles. He was the best player on the field. Right. And then Aiden Van Bond continued to do what he did on the ground, just getting those hidden yards, those really, really tough yards. And against a team like Ogama, every single yard you get, especially on the ground, is going to be earned. So those 2 guys really stood out, and I can't say enough good things, especially about the seniors.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, is your team, is it a senior-laden team, or is there a pretty good mix of juniors and maybe a few sophomores too?
It's a decent mix. Obviously, the seniors that we're going to lose are going to be massive holes to fill. Sure. On both sides of the ball. But it's high school football, and that's kind of what we've said at Clare for the longest time is tradition never graduates. So those guys that may not have gotten the same amount of playing time or didn't have the roles that we really asked them to do because there was a senior there. They're looking forward to step up and be the guy next year, and that's just kind of what we do here, and then that's what we'll continue to do. And the expectations certainly don't change with the graduating class that's leaving.
Right, and Coach, you've been coaching long enough, and you understand it's so cool to see a kid, like you said, that's kind of maybe been sitting behind, like you said, a senior that was really good at that position. In that following year, that person all of a sudden steps into that role, and it's like you almost, you don't skip a beat because, again, that kid was just, biding his time, just being a good team player, and then all of a sudden, their senior year, they're just kind of like all of a sudden, boom, they're on the scene, and everybody's talking about them.
Yeah, definitely, and it's just a trickle-down effect. I mean, we asked the seniors to kind of take those guys under the wing and practice and then give them all the tips. So that's part of the reason why you're in those situations is those guys that are passing down that knowledge and that experience to the younger guys. So once you hit the next season, it's not as big of a learning curve as it might be if they didn't have that.
Right. Now, Coach, any secret sauce to what you guys do at Clare? Because, again, you guys are such a consistent program year in and year out. And just you can expect the Clare Pioneers to be good at football.
I mean, it's just program tradition. Any guy that really steps into our program understands what is going to be needed to be successful, and that's kind of what we really lean on in the off season. Is like, all right, you guys know what's needed, and it's really not that big of an ask for our guys because it's just kind of the expectations that's been built for so long, and it's a testament to Coach Luplo what he's been able to do, and it's just continued to carry on because everything's been instilled in these guys that really since youth on up. So it's that we've already got guys that are asking when the next lift is and when they can start getting their 4-player workouts in. So that's just a testament to the guys' work ethic and the tradition that we have here.
And I'm sure, Coach, a lot of the little kids play youth football around Clare as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a great youth football team, or football program. We had at least 2 full teams at every grade level. Wow. Three teams at every grade level all the way up. So we're certainly excited about it. And it's like I said, it's a trickle down effect. It starts with our seniors and it goes down. And it's that tradition never graduates mentality that we certainly have here.
Yeah, Coach. Again, just continue to be impressive year in and year out. And are a lot of your kids, do they play other sports now in the winter and spring? Are you a coach that likes to have the kids play other sports?
Oh, definitely. We tell them all the time, you only get 4 years to do this in high school, and there's really nothing that compares to it. So go be a 3-sport athlete, go be a 4-sport athlete, even if it's something that you've never done.
Right.
Our wrestling coach is on our staff, and so if they're not necessarily a basketball guy, we push them to the mats. Or if they're not interested in that, we have a tremendous track program that does a lot of winter indoor meets. So we want them always busy, and we're willing to put what we need them to do on the back burner if they're competing in a sport. And we want them to constantly compete, because there's nothing that can really prepare guys for competition other than competition. So just having that competitive mindset year in, all year round, I should say, really pays dividends for all of us in all sports here.
Yeah, and Coach, that's it. I personally, I'm a big fan of the wrestlers and stuff, because they're usually self-disciplined, they're tough, they're self-motivated. And so, if you get a kid that loves to wrestle and he plays football like that, you're getting certain qualities right away.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when you're on the mat, there's really nobody else but you. I mean, clearly there's nobody else but you, and it's just you have to rely on your technique and how are you going to respond to a guy who puts you on your back? Are you just going to give up, or are you going to continue to fight? So, yeah, I'm with you there, and there's a lot of things that we can pull from all the sports, but wrestling is definitely a big one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Steve, again, the last couple of weeks you were able to join us, and we really appreciate you coming on and talking about the Clare Pioneer football program. Going forward, we wish you all the best, and when we're doing this next year, I hope to get started early in the season and keeping track of what's happening in Pioneer country.
Oh, certainly, and I'm a really big proponent on exposure for our area, and I can't thank you guys for what you guys do, and I'll be happy to come on whenever you guys will have me.
All right, well, great. Well, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a great one.
All right, you too. All right, Steve Spranger right there from the Clare Pioneers, one of the more consistent programs around north central Michigan. Their Roadrunner, and does a great job, and took over after a legendary coach and just continues to keep that ball rolling.
There you go. Hey, a great season that we've had the whole season, even with the Vikings right here.
Oh, exactly. Coach Eric Tunney does a great job with the Vikings. I know they're going through a little growing pains this year for sure, but Eric Tunney is the right man for the job, and is doing a great job, and better things coming in the future there for sure.
Yeah, basketball season right
around the corner.
So when we get back after the break, I want to ask you your prediction.
Oh, okay. There we go. Watch out for that. So, all right. What we'll do is we'll go to break, and then we're going to go over some of the scores from around northern Michigan and talk about some of the other teams and what they did in the opening night of high school playoffs in the state of Michigan. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
Cooler weather calls for something hearty for breakfast, like the hash and eggs at Moose and Stella's Cafe in Kalkaska. Our signature breakfast with homemade corned beef hash, grilled potatoes and onions, and tasty seasonings. All served with your choice of eggs and toast. Yeah, you'll remember this breakfast. Add a Costa Rican coffee or a flavorful cappuccino. This could be your new favorite place for breakfast at mooseandstellas.com. Moose and Stella's, or up north flavor.
Shopping can be fun, unless you're shopping for insurance. Trying to compare policies can be confusing. Cornell Agency wants to be your personal insurance shopper. Auto, home, life, and recreational vehicles, health, Medicare, and even business. They handle it all. Cornell works with multiple insurance companies, so you know their rates will always be competitive, friendly, knowledgeable, and there when you need them. Give Cornell Agency a call at 989-348-6761. That's 989-348-6761.
The most festive start to the Christmas season is at the Grayling Christmas Walk, November 16th. Join Blarney Stone Broadcasting on Michigan Avenue, downtown Grayling from 5 to 7 for the Christmas Light Parade and the lighting of the Grayling Christmas tree. We'll have the Spin to Win wheel and register you to win great prizes from Blarney Stone Broadcasting. Meet Santa and real reindeer. Get discounts at local retailers and enter the Win Big raffle. The Grayling Christmas Walk, November 16th with Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and the Roadrunner in studio with you today.
Hey, sports fans.
That's right. Appreciate the Roadrunner sitting in here today, filling in for JC. And there's just a few of these scores. I'll get to as many scores as I can, but I have a few details here to some of these games as well. A team that we're really keeping our eye on in Division III is the Petoskey Northmen. They're the number 4 ranked team in that division. They put up 61 points against Bay City John Glenn, and they've been scoring points at a Herculean rate this year. And one of the standout kids this year is Corbin Solitis. Had 243 yards rushing, 239 of those at halftime. So he didn't get the ball a whole lot in that second half because they had such a huge lead. But again, for one half of play, to have 239 yards rushing in a playoff game, that's huge.
That's constantly moving.
That is, no doubt about that. Yeah, that guy for sure. Colton there is probably hit the ice tub for sure after that game. But man, just congratulations to the Northmen as they are going to continue on next week, either Friday or Saturday. Also, continuing team, a fellow team that TC West is familiar with, a team that Traverse City West beat in the regular season, Mount Pleasant. They beat Cadillac in a Division III playoff game, 36-22. And in that game, some of the Cadillac kids, very recognizable. They play basketball as well, so very familiar with that, as Kyle McGowan and Gavin Gates. Both of them are good basketball players, and we'll see them on the basketball court this year. In Division 6, Boyne City got a hard-fought win as they beat number 9 ranked Negaunee 26-13. Ryan Spate had 178 yards rushing and a touchdown. He also had 6 tackles on defense. Number 6, McBain, they continued to roll as they beat Harrison pretty handily, 49-6. Great effort there by McBain. The Ramblers, they're known more for their basketball prowess as they've had really great teams through the years, but also this year they have a tremendous football team as Bryce Oakham had 12 carries for 142 yards as they were able to run the ball quite handily. As now the Ramblers, they have to travel to North Muskegon now and take on that team. So that should be an interesting matchup. More of a mid-Michigan team, Reed City, they continue to roll. They are the number 4 team in Division 6, at least ranked. They won 41-20 over Manistee. So that's Manistee finishes the season at 5-5 as they were a 5-4 team that made the playoffs. East Jordan, they continue to roll now in Division 8. They beat Bark River Harris, far west side of the UP, by the way, and I was surprised they played on a Friday night.
Wow.
That's a long trip to come down on a Friday. Usually those are a Saturday game.
Must have got a half day of school off.
Right. Well, that's always, yeah, exactly. Of course, if you're one of the players, you're always motivated by that.
Yes,
that's
certainly.
for sure. But yeah, so East Jordan won that game 34-14. Beale City continues to roll in Division 8 as well, as they won 47-0 over Frankfurt. Yeah, that was quite the blowout there. A little bit of 8-man football here, and we have Onekama in a close one over Marion, 22-20. And usually there's a lot of high-scoring games in 8-man football, but this one more of a defensive battle for sure. Also, Inland Lakes, they are the number 2 ranked team in 8-man football. I believe, yeah, that is in Division 1. They beat Montebello more down in the mid-Michigan area, 46-8. watch out for that Inland Lakes team, one of the top teams. That's a team that could definitely win a state championship this year. Also keeping your eye on that Petoskey team as they continue to roll. They won 10 games for the first time in program history.
Wow!
So that's a really good team.
They got a program team rolling.
They do.
Yeah.
They absolutely have that rolling along there for sure. And let me go over a few more scores that I have from around North Central Michigan. Big Rapids beat Ludington 28-21 in a close game. I talked about it before. Standish Sterling, they finished 4th in the Jack Pine Conference, but they went to Mason County Central and beat them 50-32. I tell you, they had 3 or 4 losses this year. They're one of the better 3-4 loss teams in the state because they had to play Ogemaw and Clare and Gladwin. And so Sandy Sterling, a good team. Keep your eye on them. Glen Lake over Mansalona, 38-14. Good win there for the Glen Lake Lakers. And as I mentioned before, East Jordan, they will continue to roll as well as they won 34-14. So you were going to have a question for me there, Roadrunner?
Definitely. I got to put my 2 cents worth
in
here for you. I'll let you wet your whistle right there a little
Thank
bit.
You.
A lot of
I'm
scores
getting a
up there.
Parched there for sure.
Long night. Scoreboard show right here at Up North Sports Radio. I was looking for your predictions on, we'll go with TC West first. You and, what's his name? JJ. Yeah, yep. Right there. You guys have got that all laid out and you're scheduled to go for this 24-25 season.
Yes, get started early this year in late November. They're a couple of days before Thanksgiving. We have a game this year. So, getting started early because, again, started a year or two ago, you can play 22 regular season games instead of the standard 20. So those most coaches taking full advantage of that, getting extra games in. They love it, of course. So we're going to get started prior to Thanksgiving, earliest we've ever started in boys basketball. Usually girls would start early, a week early, but I think this year they're either starting around the same time or the guys are actually starting early.
Do you know who you're playing on those?
I do. Yeah, I glanced at the schedule last night. I believe it's Grand Haven. I believe that's the case. Again, don't officially quote me, but
there you go.
But JJ, we were looking at the schedule as we were heading down to Muskegon last night, and TC West, the Titans, they are defending district champions. They hoisted that district championship trophy with a big win over Marquette, up at Marquette. So that was a good win for them, and they got knocked out by the Cadillac Vikings, who are no slouch there at all. They only lose one starter in their team. I believe they're the defending regional champs, and they are a top-notch program. Coach Benzenberg at Cadillac does a great job there, and they have height galore, 6'6", 6'7", 6'5".
Wow.
Their shortest starter last year was 6'2".
Ooh.
So their shortest guy. They had 2 6'8" guys. I mean, it's just Cadillac somehow, some way they got it going on there.
Growing them like beanstalks and those corn.
They're like, this one's not ready to be harvested yet here. No, that one's got some more growing to do.
There you go.
No, it's going to be a fun basketball season come up. Still got a few more weeks of high school football, and you'll get all that action. We'll talk about it right here every Saturday morning.
Right here at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
Up North Sports Radio, so keep it tuned in there. Now, that was a great lead-in because of Cadillac Vikings.
Right.
Into the Vikings as we get ready to go with Chad and Scott into the new basketball season.
That's right. Yep. And it'll be interesting to see head coach L.J. Meade and see what like you said, the Grayling Vikings, what they have in store this year. A team about 3 years ago that made it to the quarterfinals and a lot of fun. Got beat eventually by semi-finalist Menominee. Very familiar. Menominee.
Yep, Menominee took them out at the knees.
They did.
Right
They did. That was a really good team, by the way. They were very good. I was fortunate to be able to call that game with Chad because Scott was out, so as a temporary fill-in.
Mr. Bouncing Ball basketball there.
You're
everywhere. You're everywhere,
I am.
Rich.
Anywhere and everywhere. So, but again. we're going to leave a little early. There's some more sports today right here on 101.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, what do we got? Got a little, Michigan football going on?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's the big game for sure. They host Oregon.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be a big game. That's a 3:30 kickoff, is it?
There's a couple of 3:30s. Yes. That one, and I noticed when I was looking at sports last night that they got a couple of other college games going. All of them kind of hitting the 3:30 mark in the middle of the afternoon.
And that's but pregame starts a half hour before? 40 minutes before?
About 30 minutes before, right here on Up North Sports Radio.
And then after that, they get treated to a Wings game.
Yes, they do. Wings go Wings.
That's right.
Here,
yeah.
Also on WGRY 101. And Lions,
don't forget them.
On Sunday
over
on
Q100.
The sister station, back and forth right here, 100 Q100, the home base for the Lions.
That's right.
And go Lions.
Go Lions. That's right. I'm heading over there as I'm getting ready to close out my computer, and so I get to go watch a game at Lambeau Field. I'm pretty fired up.
That'll be a drive too.
Yep.
You'll be all hyped of. Driving through the UP and getting over there to them.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. Going with some friends from Gaylord, and going to be a lot of fun.
Well, you'll have that to report back on next week.
I will. Yep.
Right here on the scoreboard.
It's going to be rainy and wet. I'm taking my rain suit.
That's right. The rain is in and going to hit over there first for the whole day actually on Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. But have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Going to be a great memory maker. I hope the Lions will perform.
I do too. Yep.
We don't want you to be the jinx of the.
No part of that. I want no part of that. So
no way. Yeah.
Again, thanks for listening in to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
Always a blast to hang out with you, Rich, right here. And you can catch the Roadrunner right over there in Q100 in just a minute. Thanks to everybody for joining the Scoreboard Show today. We'll catch you next weekend.
This has been the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord for stress-free car shopping. Join us next Saturday at 10 with host Rich Calkins. Nobody loves high school sports like Up North Sports Radio.
Sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today.
Alex Gold, John Martin with you. 1 hour till kickoff at Happy Valley State, and we went to talking some college football. We welcome in Andrew Cayley, senior betting analyst for covers.com. Andrew, it's great to have you on the show, man. Good morning. Appreciate the time. Let's get right into it, though. 1 hour from now, we do get Penn State and Ohio State. Over at BetMGM, it's the Nittany Lions, 3-point dogs right now. Total for the game, 47.5. What do you make of that spread? It's been right around 3.5, 3 most of the week.
I lean towards I took Penn State plus 3.5 earlier in the week. I don't love it as much, obviously, without getting the hook there. But I honestly think this is Penn State's best chance to win this game since 2016, Saquon Barkley's junior year, whenever they had that lead and coughed it up at the end there. Ohio State's offensive line is really hurting, and going up against this defensive front for Penn State is going to be an issue. They haven't been able to consistently run the ball because of that offensive line, and now that puts a lot more pressure on Will Howard, who has been fine. He's fine, but he's just not kind of that explosive guy that you kind of game plan against in this matchup, which is fun. So it's funny to say, I trust Drew Aller in this spot more than I do Will Howard, especially if he's good to go. Reports out of practice are that he's been running around looking fine, so I've been really impressed with the development that Allard's made, and I think they're in a better situation at home, getting a field goal. If you get the hook still, I really like that, but I think it's going to be a close matchup. The total's been interesting, too. It was like 45, and then it spiked up to 47.5. I thought it would have gone the other way, because I could see this being really low scoring. Because both of these teams are so talented in the secondaries, they play a lot of man up, and that can result in some explosive plays. And if either team gets a lead in this game, I then would expect them to try to sit on that lead, because turnovers are going to be probably what determines who wins this game at the end of the day. like I said, Penn State plus 3.5. I like that. I like them at home. I like their overall feeling. It's Drew Aller for me more than Will Howard. So that's what I'm seeing in this one.
What's this game on a neutral? I mean, I think that's kind of interesting. Like, you know, the fact that Ohio State's sitting here at 3. I don't know what we value home field at for Penn State, but I'm just curious. Like, what do you think this game is on a neutral, and does it feel like we're sort of in that ballpark where in terms of the correct number here?
Yeah, it's pretty close, I'd say. I think neutral is probably maybe a slight Ohio State favorite, maybe 1.5 sort of thing. Maybe not a. The home field thing has kind of varied by stadium and by year. Obviously, Happy Valley is one of the tougher venues to play. Penn State would obviously prefer if this was being played at night so they could go full whiteout in this one. But there's some value to it. But when you've got these two teams that are this close in terms of overall talent, I don't think it's the full 6 points that like you would see. So
right.
I'd say a slight. I'd see a slight. 3 points. But I would still say Ohio State would be slightly favored here, just half a point, 1.5 maybe.
Is there a prop bet, Andrew, for this game that maybe stood out? We were going through the anytime touchdown market, but what you just said, maybe it's a lower scoring game. So is that a market you're willing to delve in or not?
Anytime touchdowns are always funny in these tight matchups. Like obviously the guys like the Jeremiah Smiths of the world are going to be overbet, and you're losing a bunch of value on those guys. And he's obviously worth the hype. The guy is going to be playing on Sundays like before we know it. And he's going to be a key matchup for this Penn State secondary. I found something what I like, which is Emeka Egbuka over 59.5 receiving yards. Smith will obviously take up a lot of the meeting time, and I feel like Ohio State knows this because they've made sure to keep Egbuka in the game plans in these Big 12 matchups. Besides last week, where he only had 5 targets, 3 catches for 20 yards against Nebraska, he's had at least 10 targets in his 3 previous Big 10 games. He got 31 total, 26 catches, 93 yards. If you're looking at, 90% of other college football rosters, Egbuka is the #1 option here. Total of 59.5. He went over that in 5 straight weeks before last week. I think it's really kind of being a bit of a disrespectful line here. I know that Penn State has a good secondary, but we just saw him put up over 90 yards against Oregon a few weeks ago. Another good defense there, and I'd expect him to kind of be more of the security blanket for Will Howard in this one. I know Smith is the big play threat, but when you've got a defensive front like Penn State running after you, maybe your check down guy is where you look a little more, and for me that's Egbuka.
Andrew Cayley joining us here, senior betting analyst for Covers. This is now the time of year, Andrew, where my college football betting volume goes way down. I started, week 1, you look at the board, you see so many different chances, and you look at the board in week 10, you're like, oh man, not nearly as much meat on the bone. But one spot I do like, and I'm curious to get your opinion on, is this Georgia minus 14.5 against Florida. I mean, we saw what they can do when they really turn it up against Texas a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, they would have covered that 14.5 there. But it just feels like historically under Kirby Smart, when they kind of get these teams, these historical SEC teams that are coming in as 14, 15-point dogs, he tends to absolutely crush them. And I know that Florida once upon a time, would never be a 15-point dog to Georgia, but here we are. So do you think this kind of looks like that? Do you think this looks like a Kirby Smart squash spot for the Bulldogs, or do you think the Gators can put up a little fight here?
I don't love the number just from some of the movement we've seen, but yes, I'm in agreement with you on that. I think this is a squash spot for them. One, I think Florida is very close to quitting on the season, and Billy Napier, he is on a very short leash at the moment. I wouldn't be, if they get blown out here, he could lose his job this week, I would say.
Sure.
On top of that, the last 3 scores in this matchup, 43-20, 42-20, 34-7. So they've had no trouble doing this in the past. Usually you think you're like, oh, rivalry game, these games are tight. This has not been the case for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I think it's going to happen again. I like what I've seen from Georgia's offense since that second half of that Alabama game. Carson Beck making a few too many errors, but I've really Enjoyed seeing them kind of lean on Trevor Etienne, former Gator, so we'll get to go against his old team here today. And the Gators don't give up a ton of explosive plays, but they give up chunk plays. So, and Etienne kind of like feeds into that. So I'm on Etienne over 79.5 rushing yards in this one. He's the type of guy that's going to take those chunks, right? He's going to take that 6 yards, take that 7 yards, take that 6 yards, and that just wears on you over the course of a game. And this Florida run defense ranks 121st in the country in success rate. So wear him out, maybe hit a bigger one in the second half. I really like over here. I'd lean towards Georgia as well on the spread because these are just, Florida's just in a very, very tricky spot right now where Georgia's feeling really good coming off that win over Texas, and they've got their eyes set on that SEC championship game.
Let's stay in the SEC, a game that also starts here in a little less than an hour at noon Eastern time. That's Ole Miss in Arkansas, number 19 Ole Miss, 7.5-point favorites there in Fayetteville. The total 54.5. You were smirking there a little bit. What do you make of that line?
It's just, this is not the season I'm sure Lane Kiffin was imagining when he spent all of that money in that transfer portal to Nick Saban's gone. This is our chance to win the SEC. And now it's November 2nd and you already have 2 losses. 3 losses probably, like you're already on thin ice when it comes to the college football playoff. 3 losses, you're almost certainly out, and you've still got Georgia on the schedule. They've also just really struggled in SEC play. They haven't put up more than 20. Like, this was an offense that everyone was saying it was explosive. Now just 27, no more than 27 points in an SEC matchup so far this year. Jackson Dart's been inconsistent, 62 completion percentage, only 3 touchdown passes in SEC play too. The offensive line has not been as good as we thought it would be. So lots of problems for Mississippi right now. Arkansas, scrappy team, obviously. They've been one of the better bets in college football this year at 6-2 ATS. Solid defense, and I think they can do a good job, especially without. I haven't heard the latest on Trey Harris, but last I saw was game time decision. But even if he does go, it is in a limited fashion. And then just going to Fayetteville has been tough for Mississippi. They haven't won there since 2008, which is kind of a little shocking. Kind of like taking the points with Arkansas with this early kick. Like, they'll probably be more up for it than Mississippi will be in this one. But I really like the under 54.5 here because the strength of this Mississippi team has been its defense. Really, really like how that front seven has been playing. And while Arkansas and Taylon Green have looked pretty good against mediocre to bad teams, much more inconsistent against good teams this season. So I think that Mississippi defense will do a good job of containing Green in that offense, and under 54.5 looks like the play here for me.
Another interesting game in the SEC that like nobody will care about, but we're talking about betting here, so we can make anybody interested in anything. This Auburn Vanderbilt game, which is I feel like this number might be backwards, but I'm curious to get your opinion on this. Auburn's a 7.5-point favorite. It feels like Auburn is getting a lot of credit for what they did last week against Kentucky. Going on the road and winning in Lexington. But it feels like to me, Andrew, that Vandy is getting no credit for how they played against Texas. As 17-point underdogs, it lands 3. And I get it. They lost the game and all that. But it just feels like Auburn is getting a little bit too much credit for beating an impotent Kentucky team with their offense. And Vandy is getting no love for a very good effort against one of the best teams in college football.
Yeah, I honestly don't get it at all. I took Vanderbilt over its team total this year of 2.5 for the season, and when they cashed it against Alabama, like, that was not the way I saw that happening. Diego Pavia has been awesome. Yes, I know he's a little banged up. I guess that's the reason why we're seeing, like, it was open 6.5, and now we're at 7.5, and I didn't get it at all. I thought this was gonna. You have to, I guess, respect playing at Auburn. Maybe 3 points. I would still find that a little disrespectful. I like Vanderbilt on the money line at plus 240 here. Like, I've been very vocal in that. The way you beat Vanderbilt is through a solid passing game. I don't believe in Peyton Thorne. Like, he's beat up on some bad teams recently. Like, so I'm just not a believer in what I've seen from him so far. And yeah, this is just a really, really interesting spot. And I don't think people realize that Dago Pavia is 2-0 versus Hugh Freeze the last 2 seasons. If you remember, New Mexico went into Auburn as 25-point underdogs, won that game outright. He also beat Liberty 2 years before that when Hugh Freeze was there, crushed them as 17-point underdogs. I think it was like 41-13 or something like that. Same offensive coordinator with them now. So they are not going to be intimidated by playing in this situation. Bowl eligibility here is a big factor for Vanderbilt. This is going to be one of their best chances to get to a bowl game. I like Vanderbilt here a lot. I'll take the 7.5 points, but I'm looking at the money line as well.
All right, in about 60 seconds here, Andrew, Heisman market. If I give you $100 to put a new bet down, where are you going with Travis Hunter at plus 170 right now? The favorite, Dylan Gabriel plus 280, Cam Ward 3-1, and then Ashton Genty, the running back at Boise State, 5.5-1.
I think it's still Cam Ward because, one, I think Miami is going to be undefeated at the end of the season, and he has the best chance to put up the flashiest numbers when all is said and done. An undefeated Miami team with a quarterback with sparkling numbers is going to win. This is still a really narrative-driven, voted on award, I would say, and the Miami being undefeated thing with a great quarterback is what would happen for me at the end of the day.
Andrew Cayley, senior betting analyst for Covers. Great insight, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the college football slate today.
You too, guys. Good luck with your bets.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. There you go. Yeah, John, the Heisman market, man, it's we've talked a lot about this, obviously, throughout the season. And, you know, when you're dealing with, 800-plus voters out there, and some of the voters are a little more old school. Some of them will buy into the narratives that are out there. Like, I get why Travis Hunter's the favorite. Like, I totally get why he's the favorite. And he probably ultimately, I think, wins if Colorado keeps winning. Like, I get the Cam Ward narrative 100%. But if Colorado continues to win, and they actually, when the college football playoff rankings come out, next week, I guess is the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Like, when that actually happens, and they're in the mix a little bit, if assuming they continue winning, like, that's only going to help Travis Hunter's case. We saw what he just did against last week. You know, we saw him last week in Cincinnati put up 2 more touchdowns.
Yeah, let's be clear about this. College football loves to channel its nostalgia, right? They love that. They love being able to throw it back and, call on to history. And what more would those old school voters that you talked about love to do than say, we got another Charles Woodson on our hands, right? I mean, it's too special an opportunity. He's going to get that trophy.
He's John Martin. I'm Alex Gould. How about we talk a little college hoops? That's right. The college basketball season does start next week. Our first look at the futures markets, some of the favorites, maybe a dark horse candidate or two. We'll talk some college hoops next.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Shop early, save big, all month long during Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Right now, get select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at just $59.98. Don't wait to save. Shop these deals today, in-store or online. because Lowe's knows deals. Discount taken at time of purchase while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
I'm Doppler 9 and 10 meteorologist John Gross with your weekend forecast. We are looking at a dry day for our Saturday, partly to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures ranging anywhere from the upper 40s to the upper 50s with a light breeze out of the southwest at about 5 miles per hour. Later into our Saturday night, increasing clouds, but still keeping it dry. Temperatures for your Saturday night will range anywhere from the upper 20s to the low 40s. We do have a little bit of dry time to still work with Sunday morning. Late Sunday morning into the afternoon, rain chances do increase, and we'll talk about those even going into early next week. Temperatures for your Sunday afternoon ranging anywhere from the upper 40s to the upper 50s. Even still, more rain chances looking better as we go into your Monday and even our Tuesday as well. From the 9 and 10 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist John Gross.
The weather is brought to you by Bay Mills Resort and Casino in Brimley. Fall means the leaves are changing. For spectacular color, head to Bay Mills Resort and Casino. Your fall vacation is waiting for you. BayMillsCasino.com.
At Roscommon Auto Recyclers, we understand that sinking feeling you get when your check engine light comes on. Your car seems to be running fine, so you try to ignore it. But that light is trying to tell you something is not quite right. Don't panic. It might be a small fix, but if left untreated, could turn into something more serious. Roscommon Auto Recyclers is here to set your mind at ease. ASC certified technicians and affordable prices. Find us in Roscommon at 290 East Federal Highway or online at roscommonautorecyclers.com. Check engine light off.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan's Sports Start Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Over $10,000 in credit card debt? The stress from excessive credit card debt can ruin your life. Collection calls, sleepless nights. If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. DebtBlue uses secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now. 800-200-6895. That's 800-200-6895.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Welcome back to Countdown 2 on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today.
All right, coming up in about 20 minutes or so, we'll get our best bets for the weekend. We'll get back into the NFL. I'm sure that's where we'll have some best bets. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the bigger games on the slate. Besides some of those we hit on a little bit earlier, I want to talk a little bit more about the MVP market. So that's coming up. Alex Gold, John Martin with you here on BetQL, the Infinity Sports Network. Reminder, you can watch us as well on Twitch, twitch.tv/BetQL. We are presented by BetMGM. Before we get to the hardwood, and I'm talking about college hoops, believe it or not, starting up next week, just saw this from Diana Rossini. I didn't think this was going to happen after the Jets won anyway, but she tweeted out, the Jets have received calls about the availability of wide receiver Garrett Wilson and cornerback DJ Reed, but they do not expect the New York Jets to move them. You can also throw in Devontae Adams in there too. That's from Diana Rossini. Look, if they would have lost on Thursday to the Texans, maybe a DJ Reed. Garrett Wilson was never getting traded, in my opinion. And now that they won, absolutely not. There's no way. They're so far in. The chips are all in the middle of the table. Of course they weren't going to trade Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams.
Can you trade a guy twice in one season? I mean, that would be.
You just can't trade him back to the same team. Otherwise, yes.
Wow, that would be so sick. That would be 2 weeks and he's gone again. Oh man, nah. Well, first of all, Garrett Wilson is untouchable. I mean,
that catch, man.
Yeah.
Big
Which,
time.
by the way, was still not better than Odell's. It was not better than Odell's.
Are you saying that because Odell had to go way behind himself to catch
Yeah, and
it?
he had less. He had less. Like he was trending out sort of diagonally, right? So he had less end zone to work with. You know, in terms of the angle. You know, I mean, Garrett Wilson still had real estate. It was. I mean, they were both sick. Though they were both. I mean, probably top 2 the last 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think so. Obviously, reminded everybody of the OBJ catch. That is for sure. And what a catch it was. It really changed the entire game for the Jets. A big reason why they were able to win that football game. All right, let's talk some college basketball, man. I know you're in Memphis, so you obviously are in a city and a town that cares a lot about college hoops as well. I'm in Kansas City, even though we're all focused in on the Chiefs. Certainly, we got 3 local schools that are relevant in college basketball, so we certainly enjoy our college hoops here. Big 12 tournament is hosted in Kansas City. Over at BetMGM, let's take a look just at the future market for national championship, and we can kind of go from there. The Jayhawks and the UConn Huskies, plus 850 right now. Duke 9-1, Alabama 12-1, Houston 15-1. Those are the favorites right now to win the national title. What I love about betting college basketball this early, just from a futures market, is you can still find some great value on teams, man. Great value. And so what's your thoughts just on, at least at BetMGM, and you can shop around. If there's some teams I can just tell you looking at that, like if you're looking to back Kansas, there's some spots that have them all the way at 11-1. So there's some numbers you can shop around. Houston's got a better number at BetMGM than some other spots. So you definitely want to shop a little bit. But what do you make of where we see KU, UConn, and Duke there at the top?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kansas should be the favorite. You know, probably prohibitively based on, you know, just bringing back everybody that they're bringing back and the experience. I will say, like, I'm really low on UConn. If you bet UConn, you probably shouldn't be betting college basketball. Just gonna be honest.
Is it just the three-peat thing or what? I mean, what is?
Well,
what
no,
is,
I mean they lost everything again. They lost everything 2 straight years. Brought back enough in the last season with Klingon. And Tristan Newton, etc. Like they actually ended up not losing all that much from the first championship, but now they've lost everything, right? I mean, the only thing they're bringing back is Caravan. They lost Castle, they lost Klingon, they lost Cam Spencer, who hit every big shot for them last year. There's going to be a drop off. I mean, they're a Sweet 16-ish team to me. You know, I think that's totally within the realm of possibility. But I don't think of them or view them as a national title contender at all. I think they are just banking on too many contributions from question marks right now. And I just think Klingon's impact as a guy that did what he did on both sides of the ball was extremely undervalued probably. And I think you'll see that just in the wins and losses column this year for UConn. A team that I really like, though, it's not really a, you know, I'm not going, you know, I don't know, a huge limb here, but Alabama 12-1. I love that, and the reason I do is because like Nate Oates has embraced this new style. He's embraced this new sort of, all right, we're gonna shoot threes more than anybody else in the country. We have the guards to do it. Grant Nelson, obviously. I mean, Alabama played UConn better than anybody else in the NCAA tournament last year. I mean, that game was tied in the second half. UConn blitzed and blew out everybody else they played, including Purdue. And that's with Zach Edey going off for 30. So I think Alabama is actually really live at 12-1, and they're my national title pick. I just think they're embracing this new sort of evolved style of basketball, and I think that's going to lead them to a title, Alex.
I'm trying to remember who all is returning for Alabama because on the surface when I was taking a look at these odds the other day, Alabama, for me, it almost feels like in this current run, like I feel like the ship has sailed a little bit. Like, I feel like they missed their opportunity the last year or two with the talent that they had on that roster to go and make that run. Now you might be saying, hey, well, they ran into UConn, man. What do you expect? And that's fair. Maybe that's what it is. Because I thought these last 2 years, I thought these were their best shots.
Yeah.
To go and get it done with Nate Oates there at Alabama. And so I'm backing off of them this year. I just feel like it's hard for a program like that to get to that level again. And maybe you believe, obviously you do believe, that they can get there again.
Yeah, they are bringing back Mark Sears, who is one of the best guards in college basketball. They're bringing back Nelson, like we talked about. I will say this, though, with a team like Bama that is not predicated on defense, that's predicated entirely on outscoring their opponent, I mean, they're going to be a volatile team, man. There's a good chance they're going to have some bad losses just because of, the nature of the way they play. But I just think that college basketball is so ill-equipped, as a whole, to deal with a team that primarily only shoots threes, right? Like, it's cyclical, like, and it's a trickle-down thing.
Sure.
Like, Alabama will do this, they'll have some success, and then everybody in college basketball, like the NBA, is going to say, well, we got to shoot more than anybody. So I just think they're kind of on the front end of that trend, and I just don't think anybody's necessarily ready to catch up with them just yet. So that's just kind of, if they can make, the threes that they put up at any kind of decent clip, I think they'll show as an innovator that they can cut down the nets.
Yeah, we can go further down the board in a second and some more dark horse candidates, maybe to throw a few bucks on. But back at the top, Kansas being a favorite, I think we all understand why. Yes, Hunter Dickinson is back. DeJuan Harris is back yet again for another season in Lawrence. Their non-con, as always, is pretty tough, and they'll get tested at North Carolina coming to Allen Fieldhouse early on. They're going to play Duke as well, or Michigan State, I'm sorry. So they've got a loaded non-conference schedule early on. We know what the Big 12 typically is going to bring. My question for them is going to be, we saw what happened to them last year. They did not have that scorer that could go with Hunter Dickinson. Once there were some issues there. And bring in AJ Storr, the transfer from Wisconsin, who right now is in a little bit of a funk. Even Bill Self has admitted it. He's talked to him about being aggressive, and maybe he doesn't understand what he means by being aggressive in their program. And so Bill Self even admitted that he's kind of confused AJ Storr. They're not worried about him long term, but right now, like early on in the season, I would not expect AJ Storr to look like the guy that is transferring in, that's going to have the impact that I think he'll have come February and March. And then Zeke Mayo's the other big transfer they get to come in, local kid, but he obviously was up at South Dakota State and did great things up there for that program. So Kansas should be the favorite, but let's not forget about Duke. Neither one of us mentioned them. Cooper Flagg, different animal. And when you have a player like that, I don't care how young he is, when you have a player like that, we're talking about a player being able to carry a team in March, even at that age, and is just going to be a complete difference maker for that program. So I think Duke is just going to be a problem for everybody this season. And Cooper Flagg,
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. I was going to say, I mean, I've got him in my Final Four. Just it's not just Cooper Flagg, right? Like he's the face, but a guy that like we will hear more and more about over the course of the season is Con Knipple. I mean, if you want to just look up what he did in that 46-point blowout of Arizona State, I mean, you could see the potential. You got Malawak. I mean, you have so much talent on this team. I know it's young, I get it, but it's just so undeniable that it's going to kind of take messing up to not make a deep run, So I think Duke is live for sure. I mean, I think Duke is definitely live. I think at some point you do get into a game where, like, you got to have toughness, you got to have experience, you got to have composure. Like, that will happen in college basketball at some point. And if they're up against a team like Kansas, like DeJuan Harris has done it, brother. He's seen every possible situation that there is to see. I think that's kind of where Duke would run into problems. But their talent will carry them 90% of the way. There's just no doubt about it. That's a hell of a team that John Shire has up there in Durham.
What about further down the board? Let's have some fun here. If you were to sprinkle just a few dollars, understanding these are long shots, there's one team that has stood out to me. How about Rutgers? 50-1 right now. 50-1 Rutgers over at BetMGM. They were just a 15-win team a year ago, so I understand they're 50-1 for a reason. But they have two McDonald's All-Americans and Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper on that squad. I think in that conference, yes, it's the Big Ten, and there's a couple newcomers, I guess, to the Big Ten, obviously, in basketball as well, with USC and UCLA coming to the table. I think Rutgers is a team that's going to surprise people to where I got a 50-1 ticket right now come February, they're going to make the tournament, first of all. So come March and February, that ticket suddenly, I would not be surprised if all of a sudden they're a team that's like 17-1, 22-1 to win the national title. I know the name, you hear Rutgers, you're like, give me a break. But I'm telling you, I think this is going to be easily a tournament team this year, and a team that could end up with a top 5 seed.
Yeah, it's kind of the same idea as Duke, right? Like, you bring in those young guys, and they're maybe not quite on the level as Flag, but they're close, right? They're really close. So I think that's really fun, and you're going to be in the mix. Like, and I also appreciate like betting on teams where the outcome is like the range is super wide, right? Like, it could be
no doubt,
it could be amazing. It could be like somebody could say, I'm not getting my NIL, I'm not playing for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff I like. So within that spirit, I like Texas A&M 80-1. I saw them up close here in Memphis at the NCAA tournament last year. They beat I can't remember who it was. I think they beat New Mexico, or they did not beat New Mexico. I think they beat Clemson in the second round. And then they got Houston in the Sweet 16 that went to overtime. That was a super thrilling game. We talk about wide range of outcomes. That's the embodiment with Wade Taylor and Buzz Williams and that team. Like, if it comes together, it could. I mean, they could really be great, but it could also fall apart because Wade Taylor takes like some of the worst shots in college basketball. But when he's on, he's lethal. So give me Texas A&M. I'll ride the wave at 80-1, man. It could happen.
80-1. I mean, look, that is definitely fun.
They were a Sweet 16 team last year. I mean, that's not terrible.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, look, they're in the SEC, obviously, so they're going to have their opportunities and be well tested. We'll find it. We'll have a good barometer of what kind of team they are throughout as well. I know, believe it or not, like, you wake up, the calendar flips to November, and college basketball gets going on next week. It's just insane. You get the preseason tournaments as well. Some of us are sicker than others. There's one preseason tournament I cannot wait to bet, and no, it's not like the Maui Invitational or any of the bigger ones. It's actually the Paradise Jam. And so locally, Kansas State is in that tournament, all right? The Kansas State Wildcats, Jerome Tang, obviously is year 3 now for him. Last year was disappointing for that program after the great first year where he took them to the Elite Eight. They're minus 105, so it's not like it's a long shot bet, but they're basically even money to win that tournament. Here's the field. Like, and I know sometimes we think that the Power 5 school may not want it as much and all that, but this is a K-State team that did not make the tournament a year ago. They're minus 105. The rest of the field is UAB, McNeese, Liberty, Louisiana, George Washington, Illinois State, and Longwood. I'm just telling you, it's not like you're getting 10-1, but even money. K-State far and away is the best. It's a weak field. It's a kind of an embarrassing field for Kansas State to be in, if I'm being honest with you, for a preseason tournament out of a Big 12 school.
Yeah, I would proceed carefully. The only reason why I say that is because UAB.
You like McNeese?
I like McNeese and I like UAB. I like both those teams. I mean, McNeese is definitely. I mean, that's a Will Wade coach team. You know what you're going to get from them. Super tough. And then UAB was picked to win the AAC over Memphis. I mean, they bring back their best player in Luxembourg. I mean, the majority of their starters from a year ago. So I know my man Coleman Hoggins is getting $2 million this year. I mean, he's got the best agent in the college basketball for sure. He's making more than most coaches, but you got to tread lightly, man. In that group of 5, you got some landmines in McNeese State and UAB ready to go off at any time.
Hey, people call me on this show Big 12 Gold. You're representing the group of 5. I love it. I love it. You got to support your group of 5 schools. I get it. All right, up next, though, we'll talk briefly on the Wooden Award, and then we'll get back into the NFL, including our best bets here on Countdown 2.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards, RealFit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Michigan football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the most exciting part of football is the score. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Place a first touchdown scorer wager today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER for confidential help.
You always get more at Feeney Ford. Hi, this is Sean Abraham from Feeney Ford and Grayling. The rugged 2024 F-150 is just $379 a month with $2139 due at signing. The versatile Ford Explorer is $449 a month with $3979 due, and the exciting Ford Escape is just $279 a month and a minuscule $1,789 down. And right now at Feeney Ford, get up to $2,000 off a new F-150 if you're driving a competitor's pickup truck. Visit us 24/7 at FeeneyFord.com and see why everyone you know always gets more at Feeney Ford.
Camera with any new plan, plus free installation and low monthly monitoring plans. Smart locks, lights, cameras, and more make Vivint Home Security the smartest way to protect your family and prevent a tragedy. Vivint is the #1 smart home service provider in the U.S. Protection is just a phone call away. Call 800-953-6693. That's 800-953-6693. Monthly service agreement required for free installation.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There is a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man aged 45, non-smoker, can get $1 million of coverage for $75 per month, level rate for 10 years. Or a man aged 50, non-smoker, can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker rate class. Exam required to qualify.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? The stress from excessive credit card debt can ruin your life. Collection calls, sleepless nights. If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. DebtBlue uses secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now. 800-200-6895. That's 800-200-6895.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Welcome back to Countdown 2 on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today.
Best bets coming off in just a couple of minutes here as we continue to get closer and closer to kickoff. College Football Saturday here on Countdown to Alex Gold, John Martin with you. Yeah, we're about 20 minutes away from Penn State, Ohio State. We'll have some best bets, I'm sure, tied into that game. We'll also take a look at some of the other marquee NFL games in a second that we haven't hit on throughout the show today. But one final thing in our college basketball, discussion. We were talking big picture to cut down the nets. What about the Wooden Award? I'll just tell you, over at BetMGM, where some of the odds sit right now, Mark Sears, who you brought up earlier in our conversation there, 7-1. He's the favorite along with R.J. Davis at 7-1 to win the Wooden Award. Hunter Dickinson at Kansas plus 750. And then you go drop down a little bit. Ryan Kalkbrenner over at Creighton 12-1. Caleb Love in Arizona 13-1. For me, if we're going this high up on the board for this award, and I think unlike MVP and some other markets, I truly believe, preseason wise, you got to be towards the, you usually don't see dark horse candidates win the Wooden Award. Yeah. You would agree with me on that? Usually these are the names. I would take Kalkbrenner out. Not that I don't think he's terrific, but he's at Creighton, number one. Fair or not, I think it hurts him a little bit. Number two, he loses some key pieces around him. I think his job is way tougher. Now, maybe you would say, well, without Trey Anderson there anymore and stuff, that he's going to be the dude, and so the numbers are going to be massive. And that might be true. I'm more worried that it's going to hurt because you can focus in on him a little bit more. I think he'll have a very nice season. He could maybe win Conference Player of the Year, and probably will. But I don't like that at 12-1. The one that stands out to me is Caleb Love still at 13-1 out in Arizona, and then also Hunter Dickinson at 7.5-1 with Kansas. Typically Bill Self doesn't let one particular player eat and put up the numbers to do that. But that's the one thing that scares you a little bit. But man, I don't know if he's healthy on this year's team, another year in this system too. Kind of like that for a team that I think will end up in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean that's usually the way that this award is kind of headed out now, right? Like the only freshman that's won it, in the last 10 years is Zion, and he was just undeniable. I mean, he was inevitable at that point. And he was the number one pick of the draft. I mean, it was just he was on ESPN every single night. Like it was just, you couldn't get away from him. Zach Edey's won the last 2 years. Oscar Tshiebwe won it the year before that. Bigs typically win this award, in college basketball. I mean, you have had some guards come through and do it, but I think Hunter Dickinson would be my favorite, and just because, again, everybody knows him. He's been in college basketball forever. I think you have to be minimum 30 to win it, right? So, he checks that box. So, yeah, I think just with his usage, the team's going to be good. He's been around forever. I think Hunter Dickinson is probably going to get this if he stays healthy.
You bring up an interesting point, though, as you were talking about, joking, but also I think there's truth to it, just the name recognition in college basketball. Everybody knew who Zion Williamson was. Maybe this year everybody's going to know who Cooper Flagg is because the headlines and it's Duke, and maybe this happens this year. But, you compare it to even the women's game, you compare it to the name recognition that existed last year with Caitlin Clark and some other Angel Reese, et cetera. It's kind of weird where college basketball is at right now. Maybe it's a problem for college basketball. I don't know. It seems like if you were to go survey 100 random people right now, how many of them know who some of the guys we just named are? And it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a sport that is, definitely not doing a great job of breaking through to the casual audience. There's no question about that. And it probably never will. It's definitely a sport that you're going to pay attention to starting in February for the majority of America. Right. And that's why, again, there is going to be a bias towards the ones that we've watched for 4 years. Now, Cooper Flagg, I didn't hear you mention his name. He's not He's not 18 yet or something, 19? Isn't there there's a restriction on him being available for betting markets because he's not old enough yet, I think somebody told me.
Is that right? I don't know 100% on that. That
somebody told me that he's not eligible to be on the market check. He's not old enough. Yeah.
Does he turn mid-season? Is his birthday?
I think he will. Yeah, I think he will turn over. But
okay.
Because I was, he would be high on the list, right?
That would make sense.
He turns 18 in December.
That would make sense. Yeah, they probably don't want you betting on.
Yeah. He may be the favorite by then. Who knows?
He could be, depending on what these guys are doing. And if he gets off to the start, there's a couple showcase games early in the season where he's got an opportunity. That'll be something to watch when that market is established over at BetMGM. All right, let's get back to the NFL, John. A couple games we didn't get to. We already mentioned Sunday Night Football earlier in the show. I want to talk about one game that's kind of standing out to me a little bit, involving the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, one of the best teams in the AFC. They have the second best odds to be the number one seed, as we were discussing. Buffalo is hosting Tua and the Dolphins on Sunday. Buffalo 6-point favorites. Dolphins just 2-5. Tua, another game back, another game under his belt. I kind of look at Miami here. We were talking to some of our producers behind the scenes. I was asking the question. Somebody talked me out of betting Miami +6 in this game. Buffalo is the better team, of course, but is Buffalo in this spot after what Miami did last week, which was lose a tough one? Now it's another week getting Tua back in the mix. I think we started to see signs of Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, starting to get the rapport back after a couple weeks not having them together. I kind of like Miami to keep this one close. Buffalo, guys, every year we do this with them. We all agree they're one of the best teams, and then they will have a stretch of games or a game where they, out of nowhere, they come out flat and Josh Allen reverts back and starts making bad decisions in the red zone. He hasn't done that yet. That's why he only has, one interception all year? I wonder if this is that game, though.
It could be, certainly. I mean, I'm tempted by Miami. I have the over in this game, so I hope that if he does turn it over, it's a pick six. I got over 48 here, so I'm certainly hopeful that there are points. But yeah, look, if Miami's going to win this game, I do think they're going to have to. It's a shootout. I mean, every game Miami plays with everybody, when everybody's in there, is basically a shootout. But yeah, I think this is definitely a game that Miami can keep within that number here. I'm a big believer in Mike McDaniel. I know it hasn't been the season that anybody hoped or expected, but I think he's shown that when he's got his whole complement of players. I mean, Tyreek Hill was like, a completely new man. I mean, he was having to, figure out how to catch passes from Snoop Huntley and Tim Boyle, and he's just totally re-energized now. So, yeah, I certainly think there's some room here within that number of 6 on the road at Buffalo for Miami. But I do have the over.
One game we haven't talked about, Monday Night Football in Kansas City. The Bucs taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at BetMGM. Bucs 9.5-point dogs. Total for this one, 45.5. We still know Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are out. Godwin for the season. Evans still dealing with the hamstring injury. For Kansas City, they still will not have Juju Smith-Schuster, but it's game number 2 for DeAndre Hopkins. They're 5-2 against the spread on the season, are the Chiefs. This is like last week for me, though. I think it's still too many points, man. To me, this is a game you got to tease Kansas City down if you're going to do it. I would not be taking KC minus 9.5 in this one.
Yeah, I mean, like, the sort of conventional wisdom when it comes to Mahomes is like if it's 3 or shorter, like you can pretty much feel safe. But when you start getting out of these double-digit spreads, I mean, what were they like? They opened 10 against the Raiders, and in fairness, it almost looked like they were going to do it. They almost looked like they were going to cover that
garbage
number.
Time touchdown.
They give up the garbage time touchdown, and that's the thing. It's like the Chiefs don't really care what the margin is. Like that's just never been who they are. They just kind of want to win, get out, and move on with their season. And so, yeah, like I've learned my lesson here. You watch this Chiefs team enough, you should know not to lay 9.5 with them. Like, it's just they're gonna win. They're gonna win the game, and it's gonna be comfortable. But like they're not when they get these leads, and you know this, Alex. It's not like some run it up in the second half strategy. It's kind of like just run the ball, sit on the lead, and get out of town.
Yeah, Andy Reid's willing to pack it in. It frustrates people at times. But it's weird that it's too many points for me to take them to cover here. But their last 4 games, they've actually won by a touchdown or more in each of the last 4 games during this 7-game winning streak. And it's actually it goes back even further to last year. So it's not like they're winning 2 or 3-point games. Everybody saw them win in week 1 and 2 against Baltimore and Cincy by a point or two, and they assume they've only been barely winning all year. But that has not been the case. All right, let's get to our best bets heading into the weekend.
Let's keep it together. This is a big dirty.
Grant Paulson and Alex Gold give you today's
Never tell me the odds.
Best bet on Countdown 2.
All right, you're filling in for Grant, John. Let me hear what you got. What's your best bet or 2 for the weekend?
All right, so we're going to go with a game today. We're going to go Memphis UTSA over 61.5. It's a total. It's an indoor game. I don't know if you were up on the comments from Jeff Traylor, the UTSA coach, during the week, but he basically called out Memphis and said they get 6 times the money that we do. And so both defenses are bad, both offenses are good, and it seems like that if this comes down to it, one of these coaches is going to try to run it up on the other. So either Silverfield because Jeff Traylor was talking trash, or Jeff Traylor because he's resentful that Memphis has more money. So I think this is just going to be a complete shootout, and I think one coach is going to try to run it up on the other at the end of the game. We may get a USF FAU coaching situation at the end of the game that we got yesterday. So, yeah, that's going to be a main event for me here in Memphis.
Yeah, maybe another flyby at the end of the game as well. I'm going to go to the NFL for mine. I mentioned this at the top of the show. I love the Rams, -1.5 this week, guys, against Seattle. Matthew Stafford has not lost to the Seahawks straight up since he's been the starting quarterback. I think Seattle is just too one-dimensional. To me, they were fraudulent with the way they got off to the start of the season. I understand it's a new regime, but those 3 wins when they started 3-0 were against the Patriots, an overtime win. The Broncos, I believe, were part of that equation as well. That team passes the ball the second most in the league, has the most passing yards, but they run the ball so little. I don't get it. I think they need to run the ball more overall. Maybe they'll try to do that against the Rams. But the Rams are pretty healthy finally. You know, Puka is questionable for this game. The knee flared up this week. We saw what they're like when they got everybody back healthy. They to me, were a playoff team heading into the season. I had them actually going pretty far in the playoffs preseason. I think they're back to being that kind of team, and they're in a wide open NFC West race. I think they get Seattle here, and they cover the 1.5 points.
Yeah, I like it. I also have the over in that one, but again, I will, depending on how Saturday goes, I may get off that one. We'll see. We'll see how good today goes.
Well, we've got Penn State and Ohio State coming up in about 7 minutes or so. I also hope the Nittany Lions cover, and I'll be surprised if they win this one outright against Ohio State, and things will get awfully interesting for one Ryan Day if they drop this one in Happy Valley. He's John Martin. Thanks for filling in for Grant Paulson.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals every week on everyday essentials, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe'sRewards because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Friday, December 6th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Rock legends Cheap Trick with Blue Oyster Cult. Tickets start at $62 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office and online at etix.com. December 6th, Cheap Trick with Blue Oyster Cult. More at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Fall has arrived, and so has Mahindra's fall sales event. Get more power, more toughness, and more savings. Like 0% for 84 months on the all-new 1100 series, 2100 series, and more. Or get up to $4,000 cash back on select models. Now's the time to bring home a Mahindra, the official tractor of tough.
Visit your Mahindra dealer at Zaremba Equipment in Gaylord or online at zarembaequipment.com or Pioneer Diesel in Traverse City or pioneerdiesel.com.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, and garnish your wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-312-9970. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-312-9970. 11.2.24 Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-312-9970.
Attention all patriots. This is Jason Hansen, former CIA officer and security expert. I have an urgent message for anyone who's concerned about their financial future. In a world filled with economic uncertainty and geopolitical turmoil, it's never been more important to have a rock-solid plan for protecting your wealth. That's why I'm inviting you to a special financial briefing this Thursday. During this exclusive summit, you'll get proven top strategies for safeguarding your hard-earned assets and securing your financial independence. We'll cover everything from diversifying your portfolio to creating a fail-safe emergency fund. Don't leave your future to chance. Call my friends at Advantage Gold today at 800-741-GOLD to register at no cost whatsoever. In today's uncertain times, it's critical to have a solid plan in place to protect your finances and secure your future. Call 800-741-GOLD now to register for this 100% free summit. That's 800-741-GOLD.
Paid for by Advantage Gold. Performance may vary. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? The stress from excessive credit card debt can ruin your life. Collection calls, sleepless nights. If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. DebtBlue uses secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now. 800-200-6895. That's 800-200-6895.